Hello, it's the Land Rover Defender here, and today we're going to mount a paintball gun onto my Land Rover Defender. You can copy this to make it onto any vehicle you like, if you should want to mount a paintball gun onto your car. So let's get out to the car, we'll have a look at how we're going to get it on there, and then we'll come back in here, we'll look at how we're going to make the triggering system so we can fire it from inside the vehicle. Okay, so what the plan is, well, what the plan is going to be. Now, I've toyed with the idea of mounting it in various places up on the roof rack, right in the front of the bonnet, and I think the smartest way to do this, to make it look the best as well, is to have it mounted out of the wingtop vent here. Now, on my one, I've got nothing under there, it's just a blank, so I've got a good space underneath there to put a bar across to make some mountings. I'll have to move the gas canister off there, because otherwise that's going to get in the way, unless I can mount it in there like that somehow, but I think it's better to have it up there and available so that I can change it easily, because these only do 100 shots a piece. So we'll make some sort of bar coming up, clamp onto that handle there, little actuator for the trigger, move that gas canister so that can just place down, strap onto that bar, and then the gun will sit here on the top like this. So let's go in the workshop and get on with it. Okay, so we've got a gun, so what I think is we'll get a little clamp. I think I've got like a spotlight clamp or something, I'll put it around there. Then we'll use a bit of straight conduit to come down here, and that will make our bar which go inside the car to mount onto. Then we can mount an actuator across there, that push the trigger, and bang! Shoot all the paintballs out. We have to move that gas cylinder, as discussed. So I think that's just these two little anarchy bolts here at the bottom. So we'll take that off, that mount down there, clamp onto there, straight down. Bish bash bosh, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, job done, go shoot all the Isuzus D-Maxes that are out there. Right, I should say why I just said that really. So this all started when me and my mates were having our usual daily argument of whose car is better. Now I've got a 200 TDI Defender, Ray has got a Isuzu D-Max with an engine in it. Clearly an inferior car to the Defender, it's just not a Defender. Any vehicle that is not a Defender is just not as good. It's as simple as that. So, we discussed how we can actually prove whose vehicle is better, because every time we went out, one of us would just get stuck, and then the rest of the day would be just slating him for getting stuck, really. So we discussed how we could do it, and I came up with a brilliant idea of why don't we have a little paintball war, mount guns onto the cars, shoot each other. Person at the end of the day with the immense amount of paintballs on their car loses, has to pay a forfeit. So that's how this all started. So I was then tasked with the job of mounting these guns onto the vehicles. So let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. Right, I need something to take this off with, and that, and the clamp. I should point out that I have looked at the instruction manual for these guns, because they come with a very comprehensive manual, and I know that these Allen keys here do not have any sort of high pressure in them, because I know people will comment they always got the gas cylinder attached to it. Well, I attached that before I realised you can't actually take it back off again without it losing all of its air, and I've only got one cylinder with me at the moment, so I won't be able to fire this gun at the end of the video if I haven't got a replacement. So we'll have to do it with it mounted on there. So that's going to mount. Actually, that's quite long, isn't it, really? Yeah, okay, so that'll just have to go into the car, and we'll fix that inside underneath the bonnet. Clamp on there, piece of metal coming down here, that'll mount onto another piece inside the car. That can then mount nice and low down, like that. And then, bang, bang, bang. Oh, hello. Let's put the safety on before that happens again. Oh man. Okay. So the plan is, got some 20mm conduit. Now, being an electrician, I've got lots of this lying around. So, this is what we'll fix it onto to come down the car. So we need some way of fixing that onto there. That will go down into the car. Actually, I think I've got some spotlight clamps somewhere that I used for my spotlights in the car. I think I've got a spare one sitting down. That'll save a lot of time. Right, got that gas cylinder off. That's loose. That's going to come down there. So, off of Amazon, I bought these nice little clamps that can wrap around that handle like so. Fit on there. So just get it on. It comes with lots of different size rubber inserts, so you can put that in there. They're just called spotlight something clamps. I forget. I'll put a link in the bottom of this video. But that mounts onto there, and then which will have a piece of conduit. So this is only 20mm steel conduit. You can get that from B&Q or Screwfix, wherever. I'll go to an electrical wholesaler. That'll probably be cheapest. You just get one length of it. That'll bolt onto there. Then we'll have an actuator coming across here to push the trigger in, and that will come straight down into the vehicle. We'll mount it into the vehicle somehow as well. First of all, let's get this mounted on here. Right, the most important thing here is to make sure you have it straight before you tighten up fully. So make sure that arm is straight out there, otherwise your gun is going to be twisted. And it's not going to help when you're mounting the actuator on it. Trying to get it up nice and tight, otherwise it's going to roll around. So that'll sit like that. So we'll mount our conduit coming around from this side. I think the best thing to do is flatten out the top of that conduit. So we'll flatten this out and then we'll cut it after. Right, so we'll mount that on there, bolt straight through, this will come down, go outside, measure that to length. We have hole drilled, put gun through there, washer a nut on the other side. That's the actual physical mount onto the car done. So inside where that vent was, I'll mount this piece of uni-strut here. Again, it's available from electrical wholesalers, you can get from B&Q and stuff. So that will go in the car underneath that vent patch like that. That will come from through, and on there we'll use a U-bolt, clamp over that. Obviously a nut will be on that side. They'll clamp through there, like that, clamp that to that, hold it up straight. Just go outside and mount this inside the car. Okay, so I've got a bit of uni-strut here that will cut to the right length that I need. I'm going to place that through, and then drill it onto here. I've made 2 holes either side that I need to fix it into. Down. Okay, now around to fix the gun onto the bottom. Okay, so that's the car mounting side of it done. So now we've got to figure out how we're going to trigger it. So what I've got is a car door lock actuator. These are available again on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. So we're going to mount that on here somehow, maybe on the other side there, and that's going to, yeah, like that probably. That's going to mount on there, and that will extend out and trigger it. So these work in 2 ways. You've got a positive and a negative, which attaches to your 12 volt supply. Make sure you do get a 12 volt actuator. You'll have to figure out what the polarity is of your actuator, because what I've found, I've bought a couple of these now, and each one's got a different polarity for some bizarre reason. So just touch these onto your battery on the positive and negative, it sticks out, you got it right way around, if it retracts in, then you've got to swap these cables over. And by swap over I just mean put the terminals over. So, in the little kit you get with these, you'll normally get a little rail and a couple of screws. So those screws will go through these here, and it'll mount onto the rail like that. So, we're going to mount this actuator onto here somehow, and that lock will sit on there. You want to make sure that you retract it all the way first and get your actuator in position so it's minimum, as in retracted, is where the trigger naturally sits, so when it extends it pushes out on the trigger. So we'll mount this rail here first of all onto our piece of conduit and the handle of the gun. So we've got our actuator mounted on, so that will just click back, push it back, so we'll put a bolt through here, that'll hit the trigger. Okay, so drill out just to make that eye on the end of the actuator slightly bigger. We'll put a bolt through, then a washer, right, that'll lock that onto there. Then we'll use another two washers, one washer to put either side of the trigger and a bolt. Right, so we'll put a second nut on that, just to space it out so it lines up with the trigger. So you want to keep your bolts, your washers lined up either side of that trigger so it stays in place. Otherwise it's all just going to drop down probably. So we've got one washer this side, then we'll put a nut on it right where the actual trigger is. Then a second washer on it. Now you've got the bolt going through, a couple of nuts used as spacers, a washer this side of the trigger, then another couple of nuts to go actually on the trigger itself, and then finally a washer and a nut on the other side. So hopefully you can see that to put around there. So you can see how I've mounted the trigger so it's right in between those washers there, and it's clamped down tight on it. So each time that actuator pushes, it'll push the trigger back and fire the gun. So let's get onto the wiring. Okay, so what we'll do is, to wire it up, we'll extend this down this black conduit here. We'll first extend these wires, put in this black conduit down, and then we'll figure out where it's going to go. My one is I'm going to run it from the horn. So each time I press the horn, it will trigger the actuator. You can make your own switch on it. That's just you can use a cigarette lighter and a switch. The type of switch you'll need to activate these is a momentary switch or a retractive switch. So by momentary it means it only activates as you've got your finger on the button. So it should just go on and off. And that's why I'm using the horn, and also the horn's right at the front of the car on a Defender, so it's easy just to disconnect and use the wiring for that. So if you've got a cigarette lighter, you'll need to plug it into the cigarette lighter, have a little fuse there as well, and then that will come to your switch on your dashboard somewhere, or in your hand with a little push button, so you can just fire it as and when. If you leave these turned on a switch that just goes on and off, and you accidentally leave it on, it will melt. They're not designed to be left powered on. They're designed to clunk up and then straight away go off. If you leave it on, it will melt. Okay, so first of all we'll extend these cables. Now if you don't have any crimping lugs, you can twist them together. It's a very crude way, but make sure they're secure and insulated. But I do recommend using a couple of lugs that are crimped straight through. And also, if you are using lugs and you have got yourself a little bit of thin conduit here, remember to stagger the joints, otherwise you're not going to fit it down the conduit. So leave one in this actual length and then the other one just cut a bit further back. so you can get both your joints through. Now if you want, you can use a little bit of heat shrink over the top of them, but mine's not going for very long, it's only for a day, so I can't see me needing that. Once in the vehicle and clamped on, we'll cable tie that down. Okay, so then you've got your cable. You're going to want to joint one straight through, so that'll be your negative, and your positive. I'm going to put into your switch. Like that, so your switch interrupts your positive line. And then have it come onto the end of your cigarette lighter. Now you should have a fuse interrupting that as well, but I'm not using a cigarette lighter on mine. I've just done that for the example on the video. I'm having mine come straight off my horn, so that's already fused. I don't need to put another one on there. The reason why I'm using the horn is because that is a retractive switch already on it, or a momentary switch. It only activates when you press it. So each time I press mine, my horn will go off, unfortunately. But right, let's get this over to the car and mount it on the vehicle. And obviously the wind picks up whilst I'm trying to record anything. Okay, so see how I've got that coming through now. You've got your piece of uni strut coming down the bottom, the conduit coming up, and the U-clamp coming through and bolted the other side, nutted the other side. So we'll tighten them up. Okay, so I've now wired this up into my horn. So on the Defender, the horn is on the front grille. I'll show you that just down here, which is in the grille here. You've got one cable which pokes out, and that's actually onto the horn. So what you'll have to do is connect that one cable, which is the positive, onto your actuator positive cable here to push it out. The negative on the actuator and to be screwed straight onto the uni strut. I've done that underneath here. So the next thing to do is strip this all down entirely. We'll paint it all black so it all blends with the car and looks a little bit neater rather than just a bit of steel conduit around in the car. This gas canister here will cable tie onto the uni strut, which is that bar going across. That'll be cable tied just underneath here, so that'll be hidden out the way as well. Look all nice and neat. That only does 100 shots at a time, so we are going to be changing it out fairly regularly. In the next video, you'll see this in action. I'll put a link to that video in the description. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.